Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we are tackling the subject of standards versus preferences, because as a society collectively, I believe that we are using the two interchangeably when they should in fact not be used interchangeably, and just getting them mixed up and going after our preferences and totally forgetting what our standards are because we're going after the preferences, which are the things that truly don't matter. So without further ado, let's get into it. I want to begin by defining what standards and preferences are by the book here, just so that we're all on the same page. So starting here with standards. Standards are a non-negotiable. They are your must-haves and deal breakers. It is requisite for the health and maintenance of a long-term relationship and cannot be supplemented or made up for with other qualities, aka your preferences. Some examples of standards here, so I can make it very clear for all of you, include the following: respect for your opinions, feelings, needs, beliefs, and desires, shared values, ethics, morals, and even philosophy, honesty, trustworthiness, and transparency, feeling of safety, equality, and affection, healthy conflict management and ability to communicate freely, and mutual attraction and corresponding level of desire. There are many more depending on you as a person and what you value as your standards. I think these can vary a little bit, but again, they should be these things that are needed in order to maintain a healthy relationship with this person, not just things that you would ideally want in a partner, which is what we're going to talk about next with expectations and preferences. So, preferences and expectations. Preferences are always negotiable. They are the icing on the cake that can either improve the functioning of the relationship, reduce overall stress, or increase your ability to enjoy your partner. Also, we could say a greater liking for one alternative over another or others. Expectations are a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future, or a belief that someone will or should achieve something. Some examples of preferences here would be things like height, job title, buying you gifts, flying you out, specific physical features that you would like, and where they take you for a first date. This goes back to all of the coffee date drama that I've covered in the past extensively. Standards are factual. They're the baseline of quality that drives effective actions and good decision making. Expectations are internal and can lead to disappointment when they're incongruent with what others deliver. And I think that's one of the main differences here with standards versus, expectations or preferences. The expectations and preferences are all based in our beliefs, our internal beliefs of how we feel others should be acting or what others should look like, or, what we deserve in a partner. And I think a lot of us have convinced ourselves that preferences or expectations are just as important or align perfectly with needs, when that's not the reality. Expectations run the risk of actually not being aligned with your needs at all, because they are strongly tied to our own preferences as individuals. And sometimes they can really get chiseled down a little too far, so much so that they lose the intended purpose of having it in the first place. We have these grocery store checklists of what we want in a partner, and that's great when it comes to standards and the way that someone treats you, and if your morals and values align, if you have core values that are the same, and life goals and all of that. But when it gets into the territory of things that truly don't matter, but our society has kind of convinced us that they do, or social media convinces us that they do, it becomes a huge problem. And I think people are let down time and time again because they're trying to find a partner based solely on these preferences that truthfully don't matter at all, and secondly, are most of the time unrealistic. Someone could fulfill every single preference on your list but not meet any of your standards, and in this case, it should be a freaking no-go. And again, this is because preferences are a nice to have, but they are not the standard, they are not the non-negotiables that your standards are. And so many people are conflating the two and doing the opposite of what I just said. And I personally believe that it's one of the many culprits causing a number of the modern dating issues. The issues begin to arise when people are unwilling to make compromises on their preferences because they're viewing them as the standards. He has to be 6 feet and I'm not willing to compromise on height, even though I'm 5'2". Okay, but let's really look at that and understand how much you're limiting yourself when you don't make compromises on these silly things that truly don't matter. In the US, for example, only 14.5% of men are 6 feet or over. So right there, you are limiting yourself greatly. And fine and dandy if that's your thing, but understand how rare it is what you are looking for and understand that that may be why things are not working out for you, because you're only going after 14.5% of the population. And there's a ton of other things to consider in that as well. Does he meet your salary preferences? Does he meet your handsomeness preferences? I'm assuming if you're this concerned about height, you probably care about other things as well. So then that limits your pool even more and makes it even harder for you. Let me give you an example here outside of just dating so that we can take the emotion of relationships out of it. I am in the market for a house. I'm in the weeds of house hunting, and I've made a list for myself of non-negotiables, which are my standards for a house, and then my preferences, which are things that would be nice to have. They're the icing on the cake, but they are not included in my non-negotiables list. This has made searching for a house so much more realistic and attainable for me because I'm not following a checklist of things that I need to have and also all the things that I want to have. Initially, I went in and I made a list of the things I needed and the things I wanted. And when I started looking at the houses on Zillow and online, I realized that I didn't like any of them because my expectations were incredibly unrealistic. So that's just me being vulnerable. That's me being transparent here. I needed to be humbled and brought back down to earth. So I made a distinct 2 separate lists of, these things that would be nice, the preferences. They are just a little bonus, right? They're not the things that I'm looking for. They're not the things that I would say yes to a house because of. So what are my standards? Well, number 1, within my budget. Number 2, enough space. So 3-bed, 2-bath minimum. For my life and my lifestyle and the work that I do at home, I need that much space. And a safe area where I can raise a family. Those are really the only 3 things that are absolute needs for me. The rest I can compromise on. Now, what are my preferences? I have quite a longer list of those because I realize that I truly don't need most of these things. A walk-in closet, an attached garage, lots of nice natural light, not super close to my neighbor's house, a finished basement. The list goes on, you get the point. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that I think sometimes we have very unrealistic standards about what it is we should be looking for in something, so much so that we forget what it is we actually need because we're so focused on what we want or what we think we deserve or things that we've seen on social media that make us think that, everything should be amazing and perfect. Whether that be a partner or a house, I think that social media has really kind of warped the way that we view these things and this idealistic level of if it's not perfect, I don't want it. And a great way to look at this, whether we're talking about the house or we're talking about a partner, if this person meets all of my standards, that is a win in itself. If a person meets all of my standards and my preferences, that's a double win. That's amazing, but I know that's rare to find. But if something meets all of my preferences and none of my standards, that's an L. That's a no-go. We're not doing that because that's how we get bamboozled. That's how you end up in a house that looks perfect, but really the foundation is cracking and something's gonna go wrong and cost you $1 million. Think of the relationship like a house. She might be the most beautiful girl in the world on the outside, but if she's ugly on the inside, that's gonna come out and it's not gonna work out well for you. And we can't really use this comparison with the house, but going back to the relationship point of this, which is the entire point of my channel and the video here. When it comes to a relationship, one thing that I really want to emphasize for all of you is that you should be holding yourselves to the same standards that you would hold for a partner. So for example, if you want someone to respect your opinions, your feelings, your needs, your beliefs, you should be doing those things too. If you want someone who is honest and trustworthy and loyal, you should be following those standards too. Get what I'm saying here? It's much easier to find a partner who upholds all of your standards if you personally are also upholding your standards. And another thing that I think is a really big issue now is people obviously focusing too much on the preferences and not the standards, as I've mentioned a million times already. But they're doing it to a point where they are more concerned about where this person is taking them on the first date. No coffee dates. I don't do coffee dates because that means that this guy is a dusty, broke loser and he's dating other women. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. He could be taking you out to a 5-course meal. I don't even know if that's a thing. A super fancy restaurant, spending all this money on you, and still be a dusty loser who's just pretending to be some, big shot that's trying to impress you and win you over and dating all these girls at once. So just because you think someone meets all of your preferences doesn't mean they uphold the standards that you would want in a future partner. So I really think we just need to start shifting the way that we look at these things and understand that they are not interchangeable. Standards are not preferences. They are 2 entirely different things. On a first date, instead of focusing on how much it costs or where it is, focus on how this person treats you, how you guys connect. Do you have things in common? Do your life goals align? Do you share core values? These are the things that we should be focusing on if we want to land ourselves and find ourselves in a happy, healthy relationship. Focusing on the preferences might get you in a situationship that's not going anywhere, but it's not going to withstand the test of time for a happy, healthy relationship. I really can't emphasize that enough. So again, to wrap this video up, your standards are your non-negotiables. They are your must-haves, have to have it or I'm not entertaining you, and your preferences are just the cherry on top, the icing on the cake. If someone meets your standards and they also have some of your preferences, that's a win. You have hit the jackpot and you should consider yourself lucky. But again, preferences should not be the only thing that we are concerned about and the sole focus when we're dating people, because the standards are the things to focus on if you want to stand the test of time. And don't forget to hold yourself to those standards that you want in a future partner too, because as I mentioned before, it's much easier to find someone who upholds your standards if you are also doing it as well. So guys, that is all I have for this video. If you liked it or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I would love to hear your opinion and what your standards are when you're dating versus your preferences. If you guys can make 2 separate lists, just so we can make sure we're, able to separate the two and understand the differences, and I can help you guys out down in the comments if you are struggling with this. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.